Hey, everybody. What is going on? Thank you for coming to another live stream, yeah. Another live stream. But before we get started, I want to thank my visor kings, my visor queens, my visor honeys, and my visor princess. Now, y'all already know what to do. Share my video, tell everybody, and I appreciate for the ones that do share my video. Thank you so much. I think I got a quick text saying that somebody shared my video, so thank you so much. I appreciate you, fam. Um, so anyway, y'all, before we get started, I just want to say I know a lot of you guys probably went back last night, might have tried to, Friday night, try to find, or no, Saturday. I didn't do Friday, Saturday, to try to find that video. But y'all already know YouTube came at me again. So when we play that copyrighted music and stuff like that, we already know that we're gonna get an email, and sometimes y'all might see that I may leave it up, or sometimes I may take it down. You know what I mean? Because I know that if it's a lot of copyrighted stuff going on in there, I just don't want to tangle with YouTube. So, I just take it down, and it just be a throwaway video. You know what I mean? So, I'm telling you guys that, when you see Friday Freaknik and you want to come and hang out, come and hang out, because you just never know. That video might stay up or it might just go. I'm just telling you. I'm just keeping it real with you. Okay. So anyway, um, tonight I just want to say a quick discussion before we actually get into the topic. Now, the quick discussion is about these filters. Now, it seemed like those things are on the rise now. At one time you seen, like, a lot of white people getting those face injections and stuff like that in their face, but now you're starting to see more black women are getting those face filters. And for what? For what? You cannot stop the aging process. You know what I mean? You are what you are. I don't care how many trick remedies and how much plastic surgery, you can't stop the aging process because you are what you are. You know what I mean? So I mapped out, me, I had to map out some stuff. So you know what? I started thinking and I said, I really believe that this is how it goes. Now, y'all listen. I believe the 60-year-olds want to look 50. I believe the 50-year-olds want to look 40. I believe the 40-year-olds want to look 30. And I believe the 30-year-olds want to look 20, you know? And I think that that's something that everybody wish that could happen, but you cannot stop the aging process. You can't. You know what I mean? You are what you are. And I know a lot of doctors and plastic surgeries, and I know that they trick people into believing and stuff like that. But I believe in the long run, those face filters are going to do more damage to your face, because now it looks like, you could see that, the people that's getting those filters, and when they smile, it look like they holding like 9 dicks in their jaws. You know what I mean? They don't even look, their face don't even look real anymore. Shout out to Black China though, because see, she did the right thing. She got those things out of her face. She got those things out of her face because I believe in the end, it's going to do more harm. It's going to do, you know, and it's crazy because we already know that as we age, we're going to get the crow's feet. We're going to get bags up under our eyes and stuff like that. That's just the aging process. But I believe with these face filters, I believe that it's an illusion to make you think that your face is smooth, and it takes away the wrinkles and stuff like that. But guess how many times you probably got to go back to get that injection? Because if you don't, what's going to happen? I'm pretty sure those things are probably going to come back even worse. I'm pretty sure you're still going to have the crow's feet, the wrinkles around the eyes, and all of that. So what I'm saying is, you can't stop the aging process. You know what I mean? So anyway, y'all. On that note, y'all already know I ramble, and yeah. So tonight's discussion is, who's really from the mo3 sector or just the Hannibal Lecter. Now, y'all, now I did a whole map. I did a whole map and I mapped all of this out, okay? And I want to tell you, because I've been around these YouTube streets for a while. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to show you who's actually from the mo3 sector, or who's just a Hannibal Lecter. You know what I mean? Because there are Hannibal Lecters running around on these YouTube streets that want to kill your channel, want to kill you, want to bring the mess to your channel. Those are Hannibal Lecters. Those are serial panel killers. Okay? I'm just keeping it real. Now, we're going to back it up. We're going to back it up. We're going to back it up for maybe about, I'm going to say 2 years, maybe 3 years. Okay? Now, listen to this, y'all. Now, Timbo Slice was the first content creator that held grown folks night. He held it from, I'm gonna say, from like 10 o'clock to on. It could be 5 o'clock in the morning, it could be 6 o'clock in the morning. Okay. Now, if you weren't in that Timbo sector, I mean not even sector, if you wasn't in that Timbo's live stream at that time, you are not from the mo3 sector. You're not. But but we're not going to stop there. We're not going to stop there. Before I even get started with the mo3 sector, let me just tell you, back then, there was only two queens. That was Queen Nika and Queen Lakers. We didn't have no other queens. Those were the only two queens of the mo3 sector. Now let me break it down even further. Now, Back then you had content creators. You had Timbo Slice, you had Triggerman, you had Polar, you had Duke Farrell, and you had MHB. Now you did have your Ratchet TV and you did have your Skull, but those guys were from across the tracks. They weren't from the mo3 sector at the time, but they became a part of the mo3 sector. Now Timbo, at the time, like I said, he held grown folks night. Now, who was in their chats at the time was Room Shaker, Max, Pooh Black, Gordo, Coach TV, Ocean Rue, Truth Be Told, and myself. Now, at that time, Trigger and Timbo merged together and decided to do Grown Folks together. So therefore, that's how we all became Triggerman's subscribers. That's how we all became Triggerman's subscriber is through Timbo because Timbo was the one to say, "Hey, everybody go subscribe to Triggerman." That's only because he was at the time held those late night live streams, and believe me, it was popping. Okay, so now, the Mo3, after that, you got the MHB, you got the Ratchet TV, you got the Skull. Now, at that time, those were the top creators that they all argued together. They was beefing at the time. You had the Triggermans, you had the Polars, you had the Duke Farrells, you had the MHBs, you had the Ratchet. Now, those are all the fathers of the Mo3 sectors because those are the ones that everybody branched off of, being a subscriber. Okay? Now, like I said, the queens of the Mo3 sector, those the Room Shaker, Max, Queen Nika, and Queen Lakers. Okay? Now, those are the ones that's been here ever since day one. Day one. Okay? Now, let's move over to the Polar game. Okay. At that time, yes, Polar's channel was popping and everything like that. He had his own subscribers too. So this is where the other ones came in. Eve, Mahaya, Cam, Envy, TV, and Cupcake. Now, those are all subscribers back then of Polar's. Those were parts of the Mo 3 sector. Then you had Duke Farrell. Now, Duke Farrell, he shared in, I'm pretty sure, he shared in all the other subscribers and stuff because back then, who was ever battling all the content creators and stuff, we all, as subscribers, went to check out those live streams and decided to subscribe to the channel. Okay, now, MHB at that time, he was fighting with everybody. He was fighting with Tembo. He was fighting with Triggerman. He was fighting with Polar. He was fighting with Duke. You know, that's just what it was. That's what it was. He was out there fighting, but he was also from the Mo3 sector. Okay, and that's just how it is. Now, you have the people from across the tracks. Now, this is why I'm saying who is really from the Mo3 sector. Because if you weren't in those live streams at that time, you are not from the Mo3 sector because you weren't here since day one. I've already went down the line on who was here ever since day one. Now we're gonna go across town. We're gonna go across town to the tracks. Okay. Now, the cross town from the tracks, you had Cream, you had Lady Snoop, you had Mink Mob, you had Chanel. Those are the people from across the tracks. They did not join the Mo3 sector until later, but they were never a part of the Mo3 sector because they were never here when the Mo3 sector was first developed. Because if they were, we would have saw them in the Tembo and the Triggerman's live stream at the time. Now, you had the mommy sector. Now, I believe the mommy sector, that's where Erica came from. Erica was across town. Erica was across town. I believe that that's probably where Mink Mob came from. Chanel. Those all came from the mommy sector, I believe. Okay? Across town. Not from the Mo3 sector. They joined the Mo3 sector, but they was never part of the Mo3 sector. Now, you got Lady Wu and Queen 88 and Miss Parker. Now, all of those guys, they were still from across the tracks. Now, the ones that I told you earlier that was from the mo3 sector, the ones that actually started was Timbo Slice. Everything started with Timbo Slice back then. That's how I know, and at that time, who was a part of the mo3 sector, because those are the ones that's always been here, in the mo3 sector. But then you had other people that joined the mo3 sector, but was never a part of the mo3 sector because they did not build the mo3 sector. We built the mo3 sectors, the OGs, you know, like I said, Queen Nika, Queen Lakers, you know. Then all of a sudden, all these queens started popping up, but they already had the title. Nika had the title back then. Queen Lakers had the title back then. No one else. No one else. But then all of a sudden, you had all of these queens this and queens that. But those aren't the original queens of the mo3 sector. I just broke it down to you on who's actually the queens of the mo3 sector. You know what I mean? So, yeah. And Lady Snoop, she was from across the tracks. She was from across the tracks. You know, I don't know if she ever sat in Timbo's chat because I never saw her. Grown folks, we're taking it all the way back. We're taking it all the way back, and I'm just showing you who was here at the time. Those are the OGs of the YouTube streets. The other ones from across town came over to the mo3 sector, but they're not from the mo3 sector. They just joined in the mo3 sector, but the sector was already built. The sector was already built. The OGs were already here. The OGs are still here. The OGs aren't going anywhere. You know, I believe that everybody had their channel. At the time, the content creator told everybody, listen, get your own channel. Get your own channel. And then that's where the branch office started happening. You know, you had you had Polar Gang. Everybody started getting their own channel, but they were still under the Polar Gang umbrella. You had the Timbo Slice. You had the Trigger Man telling people to get their own channels. But the people that I named earlier, they were still under the same umbrella as Timbo Slice and Trigger Man. At one time, yes, it was Timbo. Timbo ran the live stream by himself. He did grown folks, and then Trigger Man joined in when they merged together. They merged together. Then you started seeing more Trigger Man than Timbo. And then everybody started to get up with Trigger Man. That's how Trigger Man was able to build his empire. That's how he was able to build all his people. I'm just keeping it real with you. You know what I mean? So, and I'm not here to battle. I'm not here to, you know, bash anyone or anything like that. I'm just trying to tell people, I'm just trying to give a person, and I hope everybody, please share this video. Share this video because I'm tired of everybody saying that, the queens of the mo3 sector. No, no, you're not. You're not. You became a part of the mo3 sector, but you're not from the mo3 sector because you didn't help build it. And I think I ran back over that. But I'm not dragging nobody. I'm just laying out the map. I'm just laying out the map, and then I'm just showing you who's really from the mo3 sector, who started it, who is here since day one. Since day one. You know what I mean? And then you have hold up, y'all, because I think I skipped something here. Because I believe you had yeah. Now I believe now you had the mommy sector. Now I'm not too sure about the mommy sector, but I can imagine uh the mommy sector probably stayed on that side of the tracks, being it that either they got in with either MHB, maybe Duke Farrell, Lady Snip, somebody on that side of the track. Not really familiar with that side of the tracks because back then, 2 years, 3 years ago, they never even came over to the mo3 sector. You didn't hear about that. You didn't hear, like, let's say 3, 4 years ago, you didn't hear about Mink Mob. You didn't hear about Chanel. You didn't hear about that. I'm sorry, there was one other person that I left off the list. That was Coolin. Coolin is part of the Mo3 sector. Most definite. Most definite. Because she was under the umbrella of Queen Nika. You know? Queen Nika. Listen, I don't care if you don't believe me, but hey, it's the truth. It's the truth. And whoever sees this will know exactly what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, so everybody branched off, because of what the content creators said back then. Hey, everybody get their own channels. Now, now you got the Hannibal Lecters. Now the Hannibal Lecters, now they all branched off. They got their own channel. So that brought in the mommy sector, the black sector, the prison sector. Now, I don't know too much about that, but that was across town on the other side of town. Didn't know about that. Still don't know about that. Because that's something that they weren't over here when Timbo Slice was happening, when Trigger Man was happening, when Polar was happening, when Duke Farrell was happening, when MHB was happening and stuff. Those are the content creators. Those are the ones at that time were battling against each other. You know what I mean? But I'm pretty sure that everybody at one time, at that time, started off as subscribers. Started off as subscribers. And then they branched off to get their own channel. They branched off to get their own channel. You know what I mean? I I know that at one time, Ratchet TV and Skull, they was the best buddies of 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 YouTube. I'm pretty sure that they used to do their lives together. You know, but then you guys already know how when these YouTube streets, you know what I mean? You start pulling in more subscribers, then you got the jealous people. Then you start, people start getting jealous of your channel, start throwing all types of stuff out there in the street. Next thing you know, you're in the beef. You're in a beef, but who's to say? They may be in a beef on YouTube, but outside they might be best of friends. They might go play basketball together. They may go hang out chasing females together. But y'all will never know because it's just a facade that they're gonna let y'all see why they're on YouTube. But in real life, I'm pretty sure they all might be they might be best friends. They might be chopping it up, with each other. It's just entertainment. That's it. You know what I mean? So yeah, so now you have the Polar Gang. So like I said, at that time that was Eve, that was Mahia, that was Cam, that was MVTV, that was Ronnie, and Cupcake. Now at that time they were all subscribers. Yes, they were all subscribers. No one no one had their channels until later, and then everybody decided to get their own channels. But we're talking about back then when uh Trigger Man and Timbo Slice held the grown folks. I believe at that time that's when the Mo3 sector was born, because that's where they came from. And then that's where, the Polars and the MHBs and stuff like that. So I'm trying to say is that back then we did not see a Mink Mob in the Timbo Slice live stream. We didn't see a Chanel in the Timbo's live stream. We didn't. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. Back then we didn't see a Ratchet. We didn't see a Ratchet or a Scope in the Timbo Trigger Man's live stream. No, no, because probably what happened was they were probably under umbrella of MHB, so they stayed on that side of town. They stayed on that side of town. We already know. We already know because, like I said, we've been here since day one. And I think I read that down to you who was actually here since day one. You know what I mean? I'm going to drop the link in case anybody want to come. I just wanted to um, just kind of, give y'all an idea on who's really from the Mo3 sector, you know, and who's really not, because now you got everybody from across town says that they're from the Mo3 sector. They're not. They joined. It's a difference. They joined the Mo3 sector. And how they joined the Mo3 sector was through subscribers and who was through the content creators over here. you know? And most of the people, and I'm gonna keep it real with you, most of the content creators that told their subscribers to go get pages, they ended up getting their own channel, but then in the end turned on that turned on that content creator, turned on that content creator to get their numbers up, to get their numbers popping. You know what I mean? That's why a lot of people share the same subscribers. You know, everybody that you see, everybody, all these subscribers are at one time were somebody else's. Either it was a Duke Pharaoh. They used to sit in on a Duke Pharaoh. They used to sit in on a Timbo. They used to sit in on a Trigger. They used to sit in on a Polar and stuff like that. Then it started spreading. Then you had people telling other people about the show or telling other people about different content creators. And then they went and they started seeing, and then they decided. Back then, you had content creators that were arguing so much with different content creators and stuff like that. People were curious. They wanted to see what was really going on. So when they went over there, they decided, hey, I like this content creator. I'm going to subscribe to his channel. Now you became a part of that content creator's subscriber list, but you came from somewhere else. But then you ended up over there. So now it's a ping pong. Now you go back and forth. Now you go back and forth. Only thing you're doing is you're sitting back and you're looking at these content creators go at it. But at that time, you're just a subscriber. You don't have your own channel. You didn't desire your own channel because you were just there to listen and look at these content creators go at it, have battling and stuff like that. I'm just keeping it real with y'all. I'm just keeping it real with you. So now you got an idea, you know, and I mapped it out. And I mapped it out, I mapped it out and I let you guys know, who's actually from the Mo3 sector, the ones that's been here since day one of the Mo3 sector, or the ones that just joined, you know, or the ones that just joined, you know. Can't nobody can't nobody take over the Mo3 sector because the Mo3 sector has already been built since day one. Since day one. And if we didn't see you to a year, 2 years later, then you're not from the sector. I just named off all the people that was from the sector. They know who they are. They know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, if you decided that, later on you want to switch from across town and join in the Mo3 sector, then that's fine. But don't claim it as yours when you weren't born here. Just put it that way. We were here. We were here since day one. We saw the development of all of these content creators, and we saw the development of people getting their own channels because the content creators told them to get their own channels. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. And and like I said, I'm not here. I'm not here to bash anyone. I'm not here to bash anyone. Just to lay out a map. Just to lay out a map that no, no. People need to stop saying that they're from the Mo3 sector. No, they're not. They're not from the Mo3 sector. They joined, yes. Yeah, I will give them that. They joined the Mo3 sector. But originally, no, they're not from the Mo3 sector. You know what I mean? I dropped the link. So if anybody got a problem, if anybody want to talk to me about it, y'all can talk to me about it. You know what I mean? But I know, mm, but I know what I'm talking about because that's just how it goes. That's how that's how the Mo3 sector got developed. But you know what? We just kind of went with it, to really be honest with you, because back then we didn't know anything about no sectors, because only thing we did, we were just here for the entertainment. That was it. We wasn't here to we wasn't here to get our own channels or something, because half of us really didn't know how to go about getting a channel. What we did was we just used to sit in and we just listened to the content creators, and then the content creators started putting the ideas. Hey, y'all need to get your own channel. Hey, y'all need to do this. Hey, y'all need to do that. And then a lot of them listened. A lot of them listened, branched off, branched off, and got their own channel. got their own channel. You know what I mean? And with that came the subscribers. That's probably they've already seen in the chat. You know, they build a rapport of with the content creator, and they also build a rapport with the people that they see in the chat, because most of the people that you see in the chat, those are the ones that's probably going to turn out to be your subscribers anyway. Especially if you're down in these YouTube streets, and just say if you're battling somebody, you're battling somebody, you know, that's going to bring attention anyway. And then once you get your channel popping, you don't really have too much to do. Only thing you got to do is just sit there, degrade that person, talk about that person, and all of that stuff, and people are gonna listen. People are gonna listen. You know what I mean? But meanwhile, some people forget. Some people forget about the content creator that told them to get their own channel. Eventually, they will turn on them. They will turn on them. You know what I mean? You know, these content creators back then, hey, they'd be like, listen, go subscribe to such and such channel. You know, they made it known. Hey, y'all go subscribe to this channel. Hey, go subscribe to that channel. You know, or hey, go check out this panel. You know, she trying to get her subscriber levels. Go support, please go support. And they go over there and they support. You know what I mean? That's the same thing that Timbo did with Trigger Man. You know, we didn't know who Trigger Man was. We didn't. We didn't know who Trigger Man was. It's only until Timbo was the one that introduced us to Timbo. Because we always used to see Timbo, Trigger Man, merging well, not even merging. I'm not even going to say merging. That time, Timbo ran his own shit, grown folks. And then Trigger Man used to sit on Timbo's panel, and then they decided to merge together. They started merging together, and then things happened with Timbo. He started getting into slap whatever back then. Then he kind of moved out of the picture a little bit. He kind of moved out of the picture a little bit. That's why his channel started kind of going down pretty fast, because once he gave up grown folks night, that kind of made his subscribers fall off a little bit. Now, Triggerman then stepped in. Triggerman stepped in. Now we all started going over to Triggers, because Timbo told us all to go and subscribe, and that's what we did. Then Triggerman started taking over the grown folks and all of that. And believe me, back then, like I said, if you weren't in that Triggerman's live stream back then, you weren't a part of the Mo3 sector. You weren't. You weren't a part of the Mo3 sector, because back then was totally different. You know, there was no, at that time, you didn't catch no subscriber arguing with another subscriber. You didn't Only thing you saw was content creators arguing and battling with other content creators. You never seen a content creator arguing with a subscriber. No, you never seen that, because subscribers at that time, they were just subscribers. No one had a channel. No one had a channel. Eventually, they decided to get their own channel. I'm just keeping it real with you. You know what I mean? hmm So, like I said, I mapped it out, and I'm just telling you who is actually from the Mo3 sector. Now, I'm hoping now that who's ever listening from the bushes get an idea on who is actually from the Mo3 sector and who's not. Who's not? You know what I mean? Especially, like I said, and I'm going to tell you again, Mink Mob is not from the Mo3 sector. Chanel is not from the Mo3 sector. Cream is not from the Mo3 sector. Lady Snoop is not from the Mo3 sector. Lady Wu is not from the Mo3 sector. Miss Parker is not from the Mo3 sector. Those are the people from across town. Those are the people from the cross town. And they got their channels up and popping and all that other stuff. Yes, they doing them. But they didn't sit in on grown folks. They didn't sit in on grown folks. Those are the people that's been here for the longest. And that's still here. That's still running around YouTube streets. And we're still bumping into them to this day, because those are the real OGs of the YouTube. Those are real OGs of the Mo3 sector. You know what I mean? I'm just keeping it real. Hmm. Y'all already know I'm only in here for an hour, and I know that it's a lot of people that probably no, they probably ain't gonna understand. They probably ain't gonna understand, exactly where I'm coming from. But if you really take a look, if you really sit back and I broke it all the way down, you'll see exactly who is from where. Who is from where. You know what I mean? See, Mo okay, see, Mo3 sector, as they started getting bigger, they started popping. And because they started popping, the people from across town, the people from across town, their channels weren't getting that many views. So they decided to come and hang out in the Mo3 sector. And then as they started, but they wanted to join the Mo3 sector. They were never from here. No, no, you know? But hey, once something is popping, people from all walks of life, from the mommy sector, from the lady snoops, from the creams, and all of that stuff, they're going to come over to the Mo3 sector because that's where everything is popping. That's where everything is happening. You know what I mean? And you know what? And it is what it is. So when I hear about different people talking about, oh yeah, oh, I'm the queen of the Mo3 sector. No, Queen 88 is not the queen of the Mo3 sector. Chanel is not a queen of the Mo3 sector. They're queens from their side of town, I'm sure, but they're not queens of the Mo3 sector. We only had two queens. That's Queen Nika and Queen Lakers. Back then, those are the only two queens we knew of. Then later, everybody and their mama took the name of Queen. But Queen was already here. You know, they just started coat writing off of the Queen's name. And that's Nika and Lakers. Just keeping it real. If you don't believe me, you can always go back. Go back into some of those old live streams of some of those content creators, especially the Timbo Slice and the Trigger Man. I bet you won't see none of them. You ain't gonna see no Mink Mob. You ain't gonna see no Chanel because they weren't a part of that. They weren't a part of that. They joined over here. They joined over here, the Mo3 sector. You know, but you know, and I don't even know who actually came up with the name the Mo3 sector. I don't know. You know, the only way I know is from day one, from day one, and those are the people that's still here today. Those are the ones that, in my book, those are the ones that are the OGs because they've been here. They're the ones that made it happen for Trigger Man. Those are the people that made it happen for Trigger Man. I mean for Timbo Slice. You know what I mean? But Timbo, he already had his ducks in a row. He already had his T's crossed and his I's dotted. He already had his list of all his subscribers. He did. The only thing we did was we just joined in on the fun. And then at that time, whatever he wanted, if he told us where to go to subscribe, that's where we went. That's how everybody started seeing the same subscribers in those chats at that night. At that night at grown folks night, I'm gonna tell you, the same people, the same people was in there. The same people. You know what I mean? You might have gotten maybe two, maybe three new different ones and stuff, but 9 times out of 10, you're gonna see this. You are gonna see the same people in those chats because that's where it all started. That's where it all started. I'm I'm just keeping it real with you. You know what I mean? Um, and the people that's been here, they know what I'm talking about. And I really hope nobody thinks that, you know, I'm not bashing no one. Or nothing like that. I have no smoke with anyone. I'm just here just to break it down. Just to break it down. And and I know it's some people out there that be like, you know what she's saying is absolutely right because she's been here since day one, and I broke it all the way down. you know? So that's just to let you know who joined in, but they were never a part of, because they weren't here when we were laying the bricks. You know what I mean? We laid the bricks. We laid the bricks down and stuff like that. Now you had the tagalongs. The tagalongs come into the mo3 sector. Our houses were already built. You know what I mean? But hey, the mo3 sector welcomed everybody in, and that's where they all started coming in, because as the mo3 sector got bigger, the word of mouth got out, and that's where everybody decided to come in to the mo3 sector, but was never a part of the mo3 sector since day one. You know what I mean? I'm just I'm just keeping it real with y'all. I'm just keeping it real with y'all. Um, but yeah, so we're just gonna take a small intermission, and I'll be right back, y'all. Okay, y'all, intermission is over. Intermission is over. So I dropped the link. So, if anybody want to come up, y'all already know I'm only in here for an hour. And then after that, I'm up out of here. I'm up out of here, y'all. But please go back, look at the video. I mean, look at my replay and just really map it out. And then that'll give you an idea on who's really from the Mo3 sector, who's been here since day one. Not talking about the tag-alongs, because I broke all of that down on who was actually the tag-alongs that came into the Mo3 sector. You know what I mean? Um, and I know it's probably going to be a lot of people out there that's probably, they're probably not going to agree. They're probably not going to agree. But I mean, the proof is I just mapped it all out. It started with those the ones that I told you about, the content creators back then. That was the Timbo Slice, the Trigger Man, the Duke Pharaohs, the Polar, the MHBs, the Ratchet, the Skulls. Those were there. And if you weren't in the Timbos live, if you weren't in the Triggermans, you know what I mean? Yeah, you're not from the Mo3 sector. I'm just keeping it real with you. Um, so hey, hey, girl, how you doing, girl? Girl, you already know. I'm in here for an hour, but I just wanted to let me just say this, Erica. I just wanted to just kind of break it down and stuff because you hear all of this stuff about these women are Mo3 queens, and I know no, you're not. No, you're not. There's only the queens that's been here. Those are the originals. You have the originals and you have the wannabes. The wannabes are the Hannibal Lecters. Those are the ones that comes from across town. That goes around YouTube streets, ready to kill and destroy and mess up panels and stuff like that. Bring all that messiness. Those are Hannibal Lecters. You know what I mean? But they're not part of the Mo3 sector. They joined the Mo3 sector. You know what I mean? Um, and I hope people understand exactly where I'm coming from, and understand that I'm not bashing anyone. I love everybody. I have no beef with no one. you know and it's just also not just it's just to also show my people, the people that ride with me is, and it's part of my visor gang and all of that stuff, how all of this became, where it first started from, and how everybody, including myself, you know, was one time a subscriber of those funders or fathers that I told y'all about, the Polars, the MHBs, the Triggermans, the Timbos. You know what I mean? Those at that time, those were the fathers. Those were the fathers, and the fathers are still here. The fathers are still here. That's just what it is. You know what I mean? So anyway, y'all hold on. I'm gonna play some music to take us out because bitch is only in here for an hour. Okay, hold on.
You're all a bunch of fucking assholes. You know why? You don't have the guts to be what you want to be. You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy. Will that make you good? You're not good. You just know how to hide and lie. Me, I don't have that part. Me, I always tell the truth, even when I lie. So say good night to the bad guy.
Yo, Jay, you need to stop, boy. Yo, Jay, you need to stop, boy. Yo, Jay, you need to stop, boy. Yo, Jay, you need to stop, boy.
The last time you're gonna see a bad guy like this again, let me tell you.
All right, everybody. All right, that's the end of the show. That's the end of the show. But y'all already know how it goes. Before we get out of here, I want to thank my advisor kings, advisor queens, advisor honeys, and my advisor princess. Now, y'all, please, please like, share this video. You know, maybe we can get some hits off of this one. You know what I mean? Because I break it down to let y'all know who's been here and who just tagged along here. That's here now, that I'm pretty sure that's not going anywhere. But you know what? Go ahead, run your numbers, get your numbers up from the mo3 sector that's already been here. You know what I mean? So hey, that's it. If you want to eat off of the mo3 sector, that's what you've been doing anyway. You know what I mean? People from across town, north, south, east, and west. That's just what it is. You know, that's just how this YouTube thing goes. But again, I'm not trying to drag anybody. I'm not trying to bash anybody. I love everybody. I don't have any smoke or anything. I was just breaking it down because I wanted y'all to see who was really from the mo3 sector, who's been here, who's been here. You know, we've been here. We've all been here. The ones that I named off, those people know they've been here. They're still here. They got their own channels up and popping and all of this stuff, but they've been here since day one. Those are the originals. Those are the original OGs from the YouTube streets. You know what I mean? But listen, y'all, enough of chit chat. Y'all go back and look at the video. I love y'all. Please share the video and keep your notifications on because you never know when I might be back. Okay, bye.